It's late afternoon, St. Lucie County. I'm the Philosopher Pirate, and this is Florida at Large. I'm sitting at Avalon State Park. If you've watched any of my videos, this is where all of the agama, Peter's agama lizards, they're a popular pet around the world. Uh, they run wild here. They're an invasive. They did okay. I've seen plenty. I'm here post Hurricane Milton. I've also seen three black racer snakes. I'm glad they made it through well. I've seen plenty of avians or birds. They seem to find a way to survive. And the park is open. As just a couple days ago, I was or a few days ago, at Gamble Rogers, one of my other favorite state parks. It was also open. I swam at both parks. Now, the difference in the swimming, Gamble Rogers, I was swimming amongst the sargasso weed, seaweed, or sargassum. There's some people, everybody calls it something different. It's all right. It just depends on language and tradition. And there was also jellyfish. Hey, I bumped a couple of them, but jellyfish don't seem to give me much of more than a tingle. Maybe I'm just used to them, or maybe they're used to me. I don't know. I do a lot of open water swimming. But here the water was, pretty undisturbed. Now, right now it's getting a little rough. The Atlantic is getting angrier because all this wind that you see is approaching cold front, and that's feels good actually. Been a hot summer, and that's one of the things that fuels these hurricanes. The hurricanes they do a great service as long as they're not destructive, and unfortunately, we've had some destruction. They take the heat from the earth, mainly the water, oceans, even big lakes, rivers, and so forth, even the moisture in the ground, and they take it into the upper atmosphere, and then it eventually finds its way into space. It's important to that because otherwise life wouldn't exist if the heat just kept continually accumulating. We would have steam instead of water. So it's just one of those wonderful things about nature. And nature kind of takes care of itself, but we can't abuse it at the same token. The one of the subjects here, and I'll get to that in a minute. I managed to replace my batteries in my battery bank. They were under warranty, and I think I mentioned that in a couple prior videos. I tried to shoot a video yesterday in the parking lot where I was changing the batteries, and I honestly, it just happens often. Passerbys, they want a light for their cigarette, and it's not that I'm smoking cigarettes. I guess I look like the kind of guy that would have a light, or they're just curious, or So I get a lot, or they're asking for directions, or they want to know, how to do this, how to use something. I even had a gentleman the other day. He wasn't able to get his phone to charge. So I spent a half an hour with him. That wasn't why I was trying to shoot a video, but I'm approached often, and I don't mind helping people. But I did manage to eat my lunch today, and right at this particular table, I'm sitting here because if I would have shot video at the other table, there's some graffiti in the background. I didn't want that in the video. Anyways, the agama lizards and also the anole lizards, the brown anole, they're also invasive, but they've been here a long time in Florida, decades. And their numbers have decreased because of the curled tail, which is another curled tail or curly tail. That's another invasive lizard. I believe that's from the Bahamas originally. But it will eat the small anole lizards, and it will also compete for the same prey. But the agamas were right on the table trying to take my crackers, so people must feed them. Folks, they'll eat anything. They'll eat cat food. They'll eat trash. I've seen them eat crackers. So now the anoles, they want to eat something like an ant. And you know what? I didn't feed them. The thing is, they have plenty to eat. There's plenty of ants. They got plenty of ants to eat and similar insects and so forth, how to snack and survive. But getting back to hurricane stuff, the Withlacoochee River. Now that river that's Polk County, Hillsborough County, I think a little bit of Lake County, Orange County, basically green swamp associated, Dade City, that kind of area. It still hasn't crested. It's not expected to crest for another 10 to 14 days. And the reason being is it it really hasn't rained much since Hurricane Milton. Problem is with Florida, and it's not really a problem, it's just the way Florida is, it is a system of moving water. And much of that water we see. It moves on the surface. We see the swamps rise. We see the swamps flow gently. We see the rivers flow. The lakes, rise and fall. Well, when they rise and fall, why are they doing? Well, the water, there's also an underwater aquifer in Florida. There's a system of rivers in Florida, and that's why you hear about all this cave diving. People actually go and dive in caves that are these flowing rivers. And there's a lot of rainfall in Florida. It soaks into the ground, percolates. I want to use a more scientific word. And it has to go somewhere. There's gravity. And so that water is going to rise sometimes in a swamp. And then that swamp's going to feed a river. And it takes time. And scientists do their best to estimate, not just for humans' sake, but for the sake of the environment and also agriculture. How long is it? When's that going to? And the point I'm getting to is there are several rivers in Florida that have not crested, and they're not going to crest for a week or two. Now, if we experience another storm, and there's two already developing that may affect Florida. Now, they may not be Milton, major hurricanes, major cyclones, whatever you want to say, depending on what part of the world you're in. But if they arrive before these rivers crest, we got more disastrous flooding on the way, and there's nothing we can do about it. All Floridians can do is prepare, and I want to state also thank you to all of the workers I'm seeing from other states. I saw utility workers, and I'm going to upload a video on that. I just have to do some editing. Californians have come all the way to Florida to do work, and hurricanes. There's a lot of individuals on the internet, and it is an election year, trying to politicize the hurricanes, trying to politicize the relief efforts, and there is some stupidity. I've seen it myself. I've seen relief workers, utility workers, relief workers, paid volunteer, because I've done hurricane restoration and recovery myself. I've been in the immediate aftermath, day 0. Day 1, day 2, right after the storm. I've been on the ground while it's still blowing. And I've seen, so-called relief workers arrive with full pickup truck loads of water and relief supplies and generators. And they give those away. And then, not necessarily generators because those are expensive, but you understand my point. They give all those away and they look like great humanitarians. Then they go wander through houses that have been evacuated and steal things. And then they return with items they stole. And they use those same trucks. So this is the kind of thing that happens. And that's why some people are upset with law enforcement saying, well, they're not letting us in. Well, there's a reason they're not letting you in, because they've had experience with this. And sometimes these people that look like they're relief workers, and honestly, folks, I have seen utility workers. These are people that work for utility companies that are based in Florida and not based in Florida, going through homes that were evacuated. And this is the kind of thing that happens in the aftermath. So, when you evacuate, don't think your home is completely safe. Take your most valuable things with you, or store them somewhere along the way. Anyways, that's a little bit of that. I just wanted to, say that this park is basically normal. Tree branches and so forth. That's about it. The sand is a little blown, but not massive erosion like Gamble Rogers. There's a lot of beach erosion in the Flagler Beach area, Flagler County. It's not that way here, and the reason being, it's on the south side of the center of circulation of the cyclone. I basically just wanted to give you a little ramble today. I haven't done it for a while, and yesterday I didn't upload a video. I was busy with the batteries. What I did discover is I used the solar panels today until it became cloudy, and it's my charge controller that I originally installed in my build is definitely not working properly. The backup charge controller that I installed, secondary, it's working just fine. it was adding charge to the batteries, and I cooked myself a nice meal on the induction stove, so that's all good. And I'm going to try to shoot some video today of there's some banks and some other commercial buildings that suffered extensive damage just nearby, and also there's some very large trees that were felled, so to speak, and maybe I can get a little video of that if I'm not worried about the wind, and there really isn't any rain forecast. Anytime there's a cold front like this, you could get some rain. Anyways, I'm going to leave it at that, folks, because I think the camera's going to blow over. It's quite windy. St. Lucie County, late afternoon. I'm the Philosopher Pirate, and this is Florida at Large.